Yo, what's up, family? Happy Friday, man. We made it through this whole distance learning thing, man. We made it through sixth grade. Man, you guys should be proud of yourselves, man. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of your efforts. And it's just gonna be great, man. Today, 5 questions again. Use of the video is very, very, very important, but this one should be a little easier to navigate. I know yesterday's probably gave a few of us some problems, but that's okay. We just gotta keep persevering. We just gotta keep practicing. Gotta keep getting better. Um, but yeah, man, happy Friday, man. We made it. You know. And I wish I could see you guys. Anyway, we'll talk about like a big together Zoom meeting where all of the classes get together, man. We'll just try to set that up. But anyway, I'm going to give some examples. Let's jump right into this math today. What we have here is polynomials, right? And so polynomials is just an algebraic term that means having many terms. And so what you're going to see when you see your math, like what you're already looking at, it's like, what is that? So we're going to talk about that, but I'm going to give you the example. So remember we said a couple weeks ago when we learned, everything on the outside, right? Everything on the outside here times everything on the inside here, right? So this is going to be multiplied by everything on the inside here. There's nothing different about that. The only thing that's different is the variables, right? And so what you're going to see is in the next example and in your work, you're going to see multiple variables, right? So remember, like x times x is x squared, or there's two x's that become squared, right? And so when you have, okay, let's just solve this. I'll get to the next example in a second. So we have negative 7x times 10x. So that's going to be negative 70 x to the second. Because when you multiply variables, it becomes like exponents. When you add variables, it's like saying 1 plus 1 is 2 and 2 plus 1 is 3 and so on, right? So that's why they become exponents when you multiply them, all right? Don't even worry about division because that's subtraction, but you can deal with that when you get to high school math. But right now, let's just have some fun, man. Let's get with these. Let's try and persevere. So anyway, negative 7x times 10x gives us negative 70x. And then we have negative 7x plus 11. So remember, when you have to multiply a negative times a positive, it becomes a negative. And so now we're just going to be left with negative 77x. And this is our final answer. You can't do anything with the x's because they are unlike terms. You have an x and an x squared. They're not the same. They're not the same. Okay? We all good on that? Perfect. All right. Now let's take a look at this example. So you have this whole thing, negative 2x to the third, times 9x to the fifth, and 6. Okay? So negative 2 times 9 is going to be negative 18. And then we're going to add, basically we're just going to add our variables together, and that's going to be 3 plus 5 is 8. So whenever you see the like term, right, you just add them. I know over here, and then yesterday I said x times x is x squared, but it's basically saying like x and x equals x to the second. And then x to the third plus x to the fifth, you add them. You add the like terms, right? You add the variables together. And your guys are saying, well, Mr. B, you said this wasn't like terms. You're right. There is nothing that we can do with this problem. That we are done. We are done. Right? So now that's going to be x to the 8th power plus negative, oopsies, I said plus when it's supposed to be minus, negative 2x to the third times 6. So that's going to give us negative 12x to the third. Okay? And you see how the variables go in descending order from greatest to least. You never have your x to the first or second before the larger variable. But again, this is a lot, but I just want you guys to practice and try this and accomplish this. All right, so let's look at number 1. All right, let's go ahead and write number 1 down. All right, and so we have negative 7x, 11x plus 12. Okay, so again, same thing. Looks really similar to the example. Negative 7x times that, right? You guys understand that. You did that before. So now you have negative 77x to the what? Second power plus, I keep saying plus, minus because it's a negative, negative 7 times 12, that's going to be negative 84x. Okay, and that looks like that is letter A, right? Letter A. Because the only one that has 77 in it is D, but they didn't multiply the 7x times the 12, so that's why it's letter A. Okay? All right, number 2. We have negative. I've got to pay close attention to this. There's a lot of numbers, but that's okay. Negative 5 to the 5th times 10x to the 2nd plus 5. All right, so again, right here, negative 5x to the 5th times negative 10x to the 2nd. We're going to add our variables together, so we know that's going to be x to the 7th, and then negative 5 times 10 is negative 50. So we have negative 50x to the 7th. Man, it doesn't get any easier and more exciting than this, right? And so since this x right here, x to the 5th, we're going to keep it. Even though there's nothing there, right? It just attaches, right? So we have negative 5 times 5 is going to be negative, see I'm prematurely writing, negative 25x to the 5th. Okay? And you guys are probably like, well, why is it still x to the 5th? Because this doesn't have a variable. This variable attaches to it. All right? So we have negative 50x to the 7th minus 25x to the 5th, negative 50x to the 7th minus 25x to the 5th, and that looks like letter B. That looks like that one is letter B. All right? Man, you guys are doing big kid work, huh? You guys are big kids. All right. Negative 2x to the 3rd times negative 2x to the 7th minus 7x to the 2nd. All right? So again, this times this, that times that. Okay? All right, so now we have x to the 3rd and x to the 7th. That becomes what? Because we're adding 7 and 3, keeping the x to the 10th. Negative 2 times negative 2 is becoming positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 7 becomes positive 14. And then x to the 3rd and x to the 2nd becomes x to the 5th. And that's it. Super easy, man. You guys are going to love algebra when you get to it. And that looks like that is letter D. That is letter D. And guess what, family? We're almost done. Got number 4. Super simple. Easy. All right, here we go. It's kind of long. So it's 6x to the 8th times 11x to the 9th plus 6x to the 8th minus 3. Okay? All right, here we go. So this one has 3 in it. That's why it's called a polynomial. If it was just that one, that would be called a trinomial because there's 3. And the binomial had 2, like we learned about yesterday. But this is a polynomial, which means it has more than 3. Okay? So we're going to do this one times this, that one times that, and then that one times that. Okay? So we have 6x to the 8. If you want, you could do the x's first. X and x is, 8 and 9 is 17. So you're going to have x to the 17th. And then 6 times 11 is 66. 66, x to the 17th. And then no negatives here, so that's going to be positive. And then we could do x and x is 16. See how it automatically falls right behind this one? That's 17 and that's 16. It stays in line. So that's going to be 36x to the 16th, right? 36x to the 16th, because 6 times 6 is 36. x8 plus x8 is x16 minus 6 and 3 is 18, and then x to the 8th. It stays with it. X to the 8th, it stays. So that's what it is. That is awesome, you guys. You guys should be so proud of yourselves. I'm super proud of you because you are super intelligent. All right, last one, number 5. Negative 4a to the second, x to the 5th, and then we have negative 2a to the 8th, x to the 6th. Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what the answer was, what letter answer. That was for number 4. Number 4, that looks like 17, 16, 8, 17, 16. That is B. That is B. And remember that little arrow, right? The little arrow means when it looks like this, 66x, then that little arrow, and then 17 on the computer, that is the same thing as that. Okay? Same thing as that. All right? Okay, perfect. All right, so negative 2a to the 8th, x to the 6th, minus 9x to the 4th, plus 2a. All right, so again, you have all of this stuff, right? So this whole thing right here is going to be multiplied by this. This whole thing is going to be multiplied to that. And this whole thing is going to be multiplied to that. So you have negative 4. So again, you could do the variables because that's not going to change whether it's negative or positive. So you have a to the 2nd plus a to the 8th is a to the 10th. And negative 4 times negative 2 is 8, positive 8, because negative times a negative is positive. And then you have x to the 5th and x to the 6th, and that's going to give us x to the 11th. All we did was add our numbers here together. Same variable, add. Same variable, add. Okay? Easy, easy, easy. So we know right here, this is going to be negative times a negative is a positive. It's a positive. And so again, the only thing that you just write down, you leave a little space, but that's what I do. A to the 2nd is going to stay, right? It's going to stay because there's no a here, right? So now you do x, you can add the x's, that's going to be x to the 9th. 5 and 4 is 9. So x to the 9th. Now you do negative 4 times negative 9, and that's going to be positive 36. So you have negative 4 times negative 9, positive 36, a to the 2nd. No a to the 2nd here, so we just keep it, a to the 2nd, and then x to the 5th, x to the 4th, x to the 9th. And again, you see how it's going in descending order? All right, now we're left with 2. So we can do that math, and we're going to have a negative 4 times 2 is going to be a negative 8. And then a to the 2nd in a should be what? A to the 2nd in a should be 2 plus 1 is 3. So hopefully you guys said that when I paused. A to the 2nd plus a to the 1st is a to the 3rd. And then we're left with x to the 5th because there's no There's no x over here, but there was an a, so that's why we have a to the third. And so x to the fifth is x to the fifth. And we're done. And we are absolutely done. That was long, but man, it's super simple. Like, it's a lot of variables, and that's what algebra is. Like, there's a lot of variables and a lot of x's and y's and stuff like that, but man, it's so simple. That's why it's so important for you guys to pay attention to the foundational stuff. That way when you get to this level, it's like, man, it's super easy. It's super easy. So that one was, let's see, that's a really long one, and that looks like that is letter D, huh? That's letter D, you guys. Yep, letter D. And we're done. We are done. Now listen, I'm gonna send an email out to parents, and I'm gonna tell them about Delta Math. If you want to stay up on your math, I'm gonna be up every week. I'm gonna add something new to Delta Math. If you want to do that over the summer, just like spend 1 hour a day on your math and your reading. Doesn't have to be iReady, but if you want to join the Delta Math class, please do that. I want you guys to be prepared for 7th grade. Okay? All right. Well, you guys are awesome, and I love you. See you soon. Bye.